My parents fired me to save money. Now their business is crumbling and I'm leading the competitor that's buying them out for pennies. I spent every summer since I was 12 working at my parents' printing shop. While other kids were at the pool or sleeping in, I was learning how to run the machines, deal with customers, and manage orders. My parents always said the business would be mine someday. By the time I turned 23, I was basically running the whole operation. My dad handled sales and my mom did the books, but I managed everything else. The employees, the equipment maintenance, the supply orders, all of it. I worked 60-hour weeks and never complained because this was supposed to be my future. Then last March, my parents called me into the office for a meeting. My mom had this weird look on her face and my dad wouldn't make eye contact. They said the business was struggling and they needed to cut costs. I figured they wanted to discuss reducing hours or finding cheaper suppliers. Instead, my dad slid a letter across the desk. It was my termination notice. They were letting me go to save money on my salary. I just stared at them. After 11 years of working there, after running their entire operation, they were firing me like I was some random employee. My mom said they'd hire me back once things improved, but they needed to make tough decisions. The worst part was finding out they'd already hired my replacement. Some kid named Brandon, who just graduated high school. They were paying him minimum wage to do the job I'd been doing for $45,000 a year. I cleaned out my desk that same day. Didn't cry, didn't yell, just packed my stuff and left. My dad actually had the nerve to ask me to train Brandon before I went. For 2 weeks, I applied to every printing company within 50 miles. Nobody was hiring for management positions. Then I got a call from Digital Press Solutions, the biggest printing operation in our state. They'd heard about me through industry contacts and wanted to meet. The owner, Kevin, said he'd been watching my parents' business for years. He knew I was the one actually running things and wanted me to do the same for his company. The salary was $75,000 plus bonuses. I started the following Monday. Within 3 months, I'd streamlined their production process and brought in 5 major new clients. Kevin was impressed enough to promote me to operations director. Meanwhile, my parents' business was falling apart. Brandon had no idea what he was doing. He kept ordering the wrong supplies. The machines broke down constantly because he didn't maintain them, and customers started complaining about late orders. My parents called me twice asking for help. I sent both calls to voicemail. By September, they'd lost 3 of their biggest accounts. I knew because those accounts came to Digital Press Solutions, and I personally handled the transitions. My old clients remembered me and trusted me more than they ever trusted my parents. In November, my mom showed up at my apartment. She looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in weeks. She said the business was drowning in debt and they couldn't make payroll. She actually asked if I could lend them money. I told her I wasn't a bank and closed the door. 2 weeks ago, Kevin called me into his office with exciting news. My parents' shop was going under and the bank was forcing a sale. Digital Press Solutions was buying them out for a fraction of what the business was worth, and Kevin wanted me to oversee the acquisition and integration. Yesterday, I walked into my parents' shop for the first time in 9 months. The place looked completely different. Equipment covered in dust, half the workspace empty because they'd had to let people go, papers stacked everywhere in total chaos. My parents were sitting in the office waiting for me. My dad tried to act professional, talking about transition timelines and asset transfers. My mom just kept staring at the floor. When we got to the purchase price, my dad's face went white. He said that couldn't be right. The business was worth at least 5 times that amount. I pulled out the valuation report showing every lost client, every missed deadline, every broken machine, every employee who quit. This is what the business is worth now, I said. You can accept our offer or file for bankruptcy and get nothing. My dad started arguing that they built this company from scratch, that it was their legacy. I reminded him that it was supposed to be my legacy too, until they decided I was too expensive. We're finalizing the paperwork next week. My parents get enough to cover their debts and walk away with basically nothing. Digital Press Solutions absorbs their remaining clients and equipment, and I get a bonus for successfully managing the acquisition. My mom called me last night begging me to reconsider, said they made a mistake and didn't realize how much I contributed. I told her she had 9 months to realize that. The deal closes on Friday.